Coming up this time, remembering Clough's priceless advice for a young striker.
Get your foot on the ball. Hold the ball up. You're a centre forward. Don't give it away. Don't flick it to left and right. That was the only thing he ever said. Get your foot on the ball and hold the ball up. He'll let you get on with the game. If he thought you could play the game, he might just give you a small tip himself that he was a centre forward, or he might confirm something that's the way you're playing, and he'll say, I used to do that, young man. And he kept it very simple.
All these years later, there's the special bond between Clough's Miracle Men.
Well, we're very tight, very close. Wherever we go, we're always trying to get together. And even if we haven't seen each other for 2 years, it's still like you've never been away when we're all together at some sort of event or whatever. So, of course, winning all those trophies, it does bond a group of people together even more.
All the lads I worked with are still my friends. And I never picked up a paper and read where Cloughie was this and Cloughie was that. Nobody ever gives me any stick. They couldn't, because I was their best friend as well.
He'd never say you'd play well. He'd say, young man, you're a credit to the game. And he'd say to me, I wouldn't know a centre forward if he was standing right in front of me. So I think that was a little bit of admitting that he may have made a mistake in the early years.
Plus how Clough's prediction against all the odds came true in Cologne.
It was 3-3, and he said afterwards, and I think he said to the whole press, if anyone thinks we're out of this game, they've got another thing coming, right? We could actually go there and win. And that's, of course, what we did. And the team talk was pretty simple. He said, we go there, we keep it nice and tight as normal. It's going to be sold out. They're expecting to go to the final. We will come in at half-time. 20 minutes the second half, we'll go 1-0 up. If we get other chances, we'll try and take them. But if not, we'll just close the shop and we'll get back on the coach and fly back to England. Of course, it all happened like that.
Yeah.
And he predicted it, and he said it before the game as well, yeah. So, yeah, unbelievable.
You'd be amazed how many people daren't say what they think. I used to say, hey, just a minute, see that ball? Is there any chance of anybody getting it?
Yes, my guest today is a striker who proved Cloughie wrong after he was loaned out to Lincoln and Doncaster before those trophy-winning glory days. Still very much involved in the game, working with a sports TV streaming service, it's a warm welcome to Tony Woodcock. Thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure. Nice to be with you.
Thank you. And as I mentioned, you were originally sent out on loan by Cloughie. How close were you from signing for Lincoln and Graham Taylor?
Well, very close. Whether it was Lincoln or one of the other lower division clubs who were showing interest in me in that time, after a month's loan period with Lincoln City and Graham Taylor,
yes,
I was very close. I thought I hadn't got any future at all with Nottingham Forest. I'd been thrown out of Mr. Clough's office about 2 or 3 times, and went back after my loan spells and had another chat with him, and said I wanted to play at centre forward. He said, "What are you going to do there, young man?" I said, "I'll score goals." He said, "Good answer," and he threw me out again. But a week later, I was in the team, and as they say, I played up front with Peter With, and we struck a nice partnership off, and stayed there ever since for the next few years. Yeah.
How important was that partnership with Peter With? Because you obviously were playing together initially in the Anglo-Scottish Cup, which you actually went on to win.
Well, every partnership's, it's a team game, so you team players. So if you play with good players, it's really easy to strike up partnerships, yeah?
Yes.
Particularly if the players, are looking at the bigger picture of the team, what's the best for the team. So with Peter, it wasn't a problem whatsoever. He's an intelligent footballer. He's a good footballer. He gave everything. It was easy for me being, a younger player coming through at the time, where he was, sort of guiding me through. So it wasn't a problem whatsoever. And I've noticed that throughout a long career, when you play with good players who understand the game, it's quite easy to form, a nice partnership with anyone who you play alongside.
Did Cloughie ever give you any specific advice before a match or just in general?
Get your foot on the ball. Hold the ball up. You're a centre forward. Don't give it away. Don't flick it to left and right. Your midfield need you to hold the ball. You need us to come up to you. That was the only thing he ever said. Get your foot on the ball and hold the ball up. Which, if you look at today's modern game, there's not much of that about it. In fact, he doesn't go forward that much, to be quite honest. So, he'll let you get on with the game. If he thought you could play the game, he might just give you a small tip himself that he was a centre forward, or he might confirm something that's the way you're playing, and he'll say, I used to do that, young man. I used to like playing that way as well, or I used to do this when the ball came to me, just little things like that, but nothing out of this world or something you'd go, wow, that was a fantastic piece of information. He kept it very simple.
Yes, yeah. You mentioned that in the early days you were thrown out of his office a couple of times. Was it a sense of being fearful of him, or was it sort of, you wanted to prove him wrong?
Well, you're playing football. You play football for yourself, right? Proving anyone wrong, that can't be the motivation to prove someone wrong. You've got to play to your ability and give everything, right? And show you can play the game. I don't think it's a case of proving someone wrong. At that time, I found out after many, many years that a lot of people were pushing me to get me in the first team and wanting me to play. And he, for some reason, didn't fancy it or didn't want it. And in the end, because I thought didn't have any future at Nottingham Forest and I'd be playing somewhere else, I went out sort of, playing very free and playing the game, thinking it doesn't matter what he thinks about me. I'll be playing somewhere else soon, right? Someone else who appreciates the way I play, yeah? Slowly, not slowly, quickly, slowly at the start, but then it turned around very quickly indeed, yeah? And he used to say to me afterwards, he'd never say you'd play well. He'd say, young man, you're a credit to the game. And he'd say to me, I wouldn't know a centre forward if he was standing right in front of me. So I think that was a little bit of admitting that he may have made a mistake in the early years.
Oh yeah. Well, as a Forest fan, in '77, I really enjoyed watching you in those glory days, and your pace and skill was so exciting to watch. I remember in the famous victory at home to Liverpool in the European Cup. I think Cloughie did give you some instructions beforehand, which paid dividends.
Well, as far as I can remember, the only one occasion he says, listen, I'm as a centre forward or as a striker, I could roam around and was pretty free. Yeah, I could go in the middle, down the left, down the right. So wherever the ball was and where I was moving. But he did say before the game, listen, just they're expecting you to be doing that. Just stick a little bit more onto the right-hand side if you can. Right?
Yeah.
That's all he said. Just stick a little bit more to the right-hand side. And I think where you're coming from now is that, it was a little side pass from the right to Gary Birtles and then a cushion header back to Colin Barrett, both in that sort of, half right position on the field. Yeah.
Yes.
So, when Mr. Clough said something, it normally always worked anyway. So, he was good.
And also, he was able to make tremendous predictions as well. When you played Cologne in the European Cup semi-final, 3-3 in the home leg, and he said, I think he predicted to you that there'd be one goal in it, and that was the case.
Well, it wasn't just to me. I think we drew 3-3 against Cologne at the City Ground, and it wasn't like Nottingham Forest in those days to concede 3 goals. But I think I think Archie got injured, and we had to shuffle the whole team round with Ian Bowie and Frank Clark, I believe, moving around, and that just knocked us back a little bit. Having said that, Cologne were a very, very good team, and they took advantage of it, and they playing on the mud didn't bother them whatsoever. So it was 3-3. And he said afterwards, and I think he said to the whole press, if anyone thinks we're out of this game, they've got another thing coming, right? We can actually go there and win. And that's, of course, what we did. And the team talk was pretty simple. He said, we go there, we keep it nice and tight as normal. It's going to be sold out. They're expecting to go to the final. We will come in at half time, 20 minutes the second half. We'll go 1-0 up. If we get other chances, we'll try and take them. But if not, we'll just close the shop and we'll get back on the coach and fly back to England. Of course, it all happened like that.
Yeah.
And he predicted it, and he said it before the game as well, yeah. So, yeah, unbelievable.
You left to join Cologne at the end of '79, having obviously won the European Cup. How much did Cloughie try to persuade you to stay?
Well, he wanted me to stay, but, it was all, it was in my head to go and play abroad as well at some time. It was either Spain, Italy or Germany, but Germany seemed to have the best players playing in Europe at the time and possibly the best league in the Bundesliga. And of course, Kevin had been there and been a success. So I was speaking to Kevin Keegan as well.
Yes.
We had a chat, they asked about contracts. And of course, money's part of the game, even in those days, right?
Yeah,
and I'd been offered a really good contract. And he said, what do you want to stay at Nottingham Forest? And I told him, he said, no, no one's going to pay those sort of contracts, and that was it. It was done and dusted, because that was it then, right? But then after it was all pre-contract signed and everything was agreed, he asked me out for lunch, and he just said, "Oh, that contract you wanted, a couple of months ago, or whatever." He says, "You've got it if you want it." But of course, it was too late then, yeah.
Yeah.
And it was the best thing for me to go anyway. There's no, I would have still refused it then, but it was just a case of being respectful to Nottingham Forest and saying, well, for us to actually think about staying, we've got to be looking at these financial terms.
Yeah.
Which they said no, and then they said yes, but it was way too late by then.
Well, you're still involved in the game now, of course, and the sports streaming site 360 Sports TV, which is showing the Masters Football six-a-side tournament this year with some footballing legends. How has that all come about?
Well, to be quite honest, I'm not involved in Masters Football. I'm involved with the 360 Sports TV subscription video on demand platform.
Yes.
The new platform that's coming out, which is all sports documentaries. So apart from the sporting documentaries that get bought in, we make our own films as well.
Right.
So there's some fantastic sports documentaries, and for a lot of producers who can't get onto Netflix and Amazon, we're giving them a platform. So these sports documentaries are really good family entertainment, because it's showing diversity, it's showing motivational stuff, it's showing that, how to win and how to lose. We can all win and we all love winning, but sometimes you have to lose with a little bit of dignity and the right way to lose things. So there's some unbelievable sporting documentaries that, is really, really good entertainment. And in fact, from the 360 originals, there will be one coming out in the next 2 or 3 months, which is called Local Heroes, which is a film about Viv Anderson, Gary Birtles and myself. As we've just said, that anyone winning the Champions League this day and age, you're lucky if you've got 3 players from one country. When we won the Champions League twice, we had 3 guys, all from Nottingham.
Yes.
Yeah. So we go back to Nottingham. Where did it all start? Gary's from Long Eaton.
Yeah.
Viv's from Clifton. I'm from Eastwood. What was the economy like? What was it like in Nottingham? How did Nottingham Forest lift the spirits? How did we start? How do we get on with our mates? Etc. etc. Yeah, we all played in the Young Elizabethan League as a young age, so it's going back to the roots. So that will be on the 360 platform as well, which will be in the next 2 or 3 months, I think, and I think it may come out in May.
Oh, great!
But what we've done as well, we've actually we've got the rights to live Masters Football.
Yes.
Which obviously is a big thing with all football fans, and as you know, that it's going to be in July in the Braehead Arena in Glasgow, and it's going to be between Glasgow Celtic, Glasgow Rangers, Manchester United and Liverpool.
Yeah.
So 4 iconic teams, 2 great rivalries in world football. It's going to be a sellout crowd, I'm sure. It's going to be a fantastic atmosphere, and you'll be able to watch it live. Not only this, but probably previews, etc., and after the event, all on the 360 Sports TV platform.
The programme you mentioned with Birtles and Viv as well, it really emphasises, I think, that there was a family feel about the club then, and even when you meet up now, it must still feel like a family.
Well, we're very tight, very close. The so-called miracle men. There's about 18 of us, right? And wherever we go, we're always trying to get together. And even if we haven't seen each other for 2 years, it's still like you've never been away when we're all together at some sort of event or whatever. So yeah. And of course, winning all those trophies, it does, bond a group of people together even more. But I think the way that Nottingham Forest played in those days, the characters they got in the team, and let's be honest, it's a fairy tale footballing story, coming from mid-table in the first division then, was it? No, not the first division, the second division, which is the championship now.
Yeah.
It's never going to be repeated if you look at it, where you're just scraping by the skin of your teeth into the big league, and then you're champions, and then you're European champions, then there's a couple of league cups and charity shields, and it just goes on. Yeah. And all the individual awards that the lads won as well, right? So
yes,
it's a footballing fairy tale that it's going to be really difficult to eclipse in this day and age. Yeah.
1 minute you're loaned out to the 4th division, and then soon afterwards you're Young Player of the Year. It must have been absolutely amazing for you personally.
Yeah, but as I say, all the football pitches are roughly the same size, right? And it's 11 against 11, and you've got to get on there, you've got to perform, and show what you can do and give everything. And this is what I think about Nottingham Forest, that the team I played in there, that it didn't matter if you want to play nice football, we could play it. If you wanted to get a little bit rough, we could rough it as well. You want to play on mud, we could play on mud. You want to play on ice, we'll play on ice. This was the beauty about Nottingham Forest. Of course, we would have loved to have played on the pitches that you've got today, right? Because we were a footballing team. But having said that, we could close ranks and battle with it for each other, as good as anyone, I think.
Yeah. Well, there are details of 360 Sports TV on the show notes for this episode. But just before you go, Tony, I've got a page here from Shoot Magazine, 1978, a player profile on you. There's a big picture of you in your Forest kit and question and answers down the side. Things like best country visited, your favourite singers, and favourite food. What do you think your answer was to that back in 78?
Roast beef.
Almost. Steak. Yes.
Oh, yeah, well, everyone in those days, right? Yeah.
Steak and chips, I guess. Yes. And favourite singers? I don't know whether your taste has changed after all these years.
Rolling Stones.
Yes. And 10cc.
Oh, yeah, well, Stones are still there. The other ones have gone, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Well, Tony Woodcock, it's been a pleasure talking to you today and recalling those great memories. Thanks very much.
Okay, thanks. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
And thanks again to you for listening. There's more information about the streaming service 360 Sports TV in the show notes for this episode. Don't forget to check out all the other episodes in the Green Jumper catalogue. And if you have any Cloughie stories to share, just drop me a line. It's youngman@brianclough.com. I hope you can join me next time for more memories of the great man in the green jumper.